Hey there, Hofstra fans. Welcome to this week's edition of the WBB Mason Coaches Report right here on GoHofstra.com. I'm Mike Sullivan, joined this week by assistant coach of the Hofstra women's basketball program, Faisal. Coach, how's everything going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. And for you, a two-win week, and you started off with a very exciting one. Double overtime win on the road against William & Mary to wrap up your conference season. Just take me through that finish down in Williamsburg and how your team was able to pull it out.
I thought our seniors did a fantastic job of keeping us grounded and keeping us poised. As soon as we found out that this was a game for seeding purposes, you know, sometimes even at the last conference game, you kind of have an idea where you're going to be, but this was a game that was going to decide us whether we're going to be in the 5th seed or the 6th seed, depending on which bracket. But I thought our kids were really poised. Our seniors kept us grounded, as I said earlier, and then in our freshmen, the whole team, but Crystal at the point guard spot, along with our post play, we did a real good job defensively most of the time, maybe not in that first overtime where we gave up 9 straight to go down by 9, but our kids just did a fantastic job on the road, and we were on point in terms of assignment, and it was a great W to pull out.
With the victory, you get that 5 seed. The matchup is dreadful, and I want to ask you about that first overtime. Going down by 9, and then Anma hits the late 3 to send it to the second overtime. When you're trailing by 9, giving up the first 9 points of that first overtime, what's going through your head on the sideline?
Who do I pray to? What am I going to say in the post game? No. You know, listen, the best thing that you can do as a coach and an adult in that is to continue to give our kids confidence. And we had a couple of timeouts. So as a coaching staff, we kept on talking about, okay, you can't get 9 points all in one. So just worry about the next possession, keep grounded, get a score, press up, get a stop, score again, and before you knew it, that's exactly what was happening. And our players were, like I said earlier, our seniors, Annie Payton, Anma Yuku, AO, our freshman point guard, Crystal, you know, Alexis Carter, Kelly Loftus, they were all really engaged. Asia Jackson, everybody was just kind of bought in, and everybody was like, we're not going to lose this game. You can kind of tell in their faces collectively that they were like, all right, let's go. We're going to be okay. Let's play some defense, and you know, give our kids a lot of credit. And yeah, we hit some big shots, and then obviously we got some stops defensively. And it was a great game to be part of.
You've mentioned Crystal Luciano a couple of times.
Yeah.
She's been extremely poised in her freshman season. 45 minutes played, nearly a triple-double. What was it like to see her run your offense for pretty much the entire game?
She's been doing it for a while now. I think her national team experience with the Puerto Rican national team, her experience overseas in different tournaments is paying off. She's not just a regular freshman. And then she has about 27 games under her belt now, and including CAA 16-game schedule, and you could tell in terms of what offenses to call, what defenses, her ability to look over, to be on the same page with the coaching staff. Those are all paying off that night on Wednesday, and she did a great job of distributing the ball, kept her turnovers. I think she had 3 only, relatively low, and didn't make some astronomical mistakes that maybe point guards in that situation may have or could, and so she kept that at a minimum, and it really kept our group focused.
You mentioned the seniors as well. Anma and Yuku, Annie Payton combined for 44 of your 80 points, 16 made field goals. How did they carry you to the victory?
Well, objectively, just that way, right? They had 22 points, and then they had those points at the most opportune times. I think it's about 15 seconds to go in the first in regulation, and you know, we ran a certain play with Annie to get the shot off, and they were up on Annie. They were pressing up, so Annie threw a little ball fake, went to her right, and we're always on Annie about jump stopping, and Annie does exactly that. In that moment where she needed a jump stop, and somebody pulled off of AO ball side, and man, she delivered a nice pass right into AO's hand pocket, and AO delivered a big 3 right in front of our bench, and that tied the game. And then we needed to get a defensive stop, and we did that. So just from that little situation, Annie and AO were very calm under basketball stress, so to speak, and did a great job of hitting some big shots.
And quickly to touch on the NJIT game, an interesting scenario to end the season. The end of the season on a non-conference game, a rescheduled one at that, and you treat it really like any other in terms of minutes played. You come away with the victory. What was it like to end the season like that with a non-conference game?
I'm trying to think the last time I've been in a situation as an assistant coach in that. I think this was the first year. The best thing that we continually stressed to our young ladies was let's get to 14-14, our overall record, to give us a chance against Drexel record-wise, and then maybe, you never know, you put it in the committee's hands, and if we don't get to the NCAA, if we don't win our conference tournament, a WNIT appearance perhaps. But more importantly, it's our next game.
Right.
Had we not played Saturday, Mike, we would have practiced. And practicing on that day, you get to go against each other, you get to beat each other up. This way, it was another close game. It was another opportunity for our seniors to be at home. We get to put the uniform on. They have a score up there. There's a winner and loser. And so to be able to go through all those situations, I think mentally it helps us. I think if anything, it helps us. And so I think from all that point of view, it was great to get that W. It was hard, and it was really earned, and give NJIT lots of credit. It was their last game of the year. They're on a 3-game win streak, and they came in here like they wanted to win the game, and they weren't going to lay down. And I give their coaching staff and their team lots of credit for pushing us.
So let's look ahead to this week. Your third matchup with Drexel. Both games of the regular season came right down to the wire.
Right.
Very two evenly matched teams. How do you approach round 3 with the Dragons?
Last year we played Northeastern, and it was the reverse in the 4 or 5 game. We were still the 5th, but Northeastern had beaten us twice. They had beaten us at the buzzer at our place, and they had just beaten us a week before at their place on Senior Day, 87-81, I believe. Our mantra going into that was, they can't beat us 3 times. They can't beat us. Now it's flipped. We've beaten Drexel twice, so I'm sure at some point Drexel is going to mention this week they can't beat us 3 times, and all we have to continue to stress is we got to beat them once. We got to beat them once on Friday, and that's it. So we play them at 2:30. We match up really well. They match up really well against us. They got some great shooters. They space us out, and then they've gone a little bit more athletic against us in the last 2 games, where they played 15 and 23 and 41 a little bit more with their young personnel, and to match our athleticism, it's going to be a fun game. Denise and her crew are always get after it, and they do a great job of preparing their kids, and coach is back, and we can't wait.
Defensively, is this a difficult game to prepare for from the perspective of they don't really have a star? They can attack you a lot of different ways offensively. A lot of different people can contribute a double-digit point effort on any given night. So how do you prepare for that when there's not necessarily one person that can possibly take over a game?
And that's a great point. I get that. But with that said, we've had all year long 9, 10, 11 people, bodies playing as well. So they got to prepare for us as well. With that said, you're right. They don't have one set person, but I can tell you right now, they have about 3 or 4 kids that you really have to pay attention to. And as both games wore on, their strategy was to start playing some of the more athletic kids. So they played 9, 10 kids against us. And, you know, at this time of the year, and you played them twice, we've had enough scouting time, personnel attentive time, that our kids are aware of everybody on that squad. And everybody at some point did well against us in both games, just like everybody from our group did quite well against them as well. So it's going to be a great game at 2:30. Can't wait.
Finally, Coach, what's it going to take to achieve step 1, defeat the Dragons, and then moving on through the weekend to potentially be playing for CHA?
Yeah, for me, just as an assistant, it's always been very important to stress defense and rebounding. They do such a great job of running their sets and trying to spread you out, and our ability to not get stretched out, to be able to take care of the paint defensively, to be able to contest all their threes and to cover the arc. They do lots of basket cuts, lots of flares, and then they go to a simple ball screen offense at the end of the game, which we had a little bit of a difficult time with in this previous game. So take all that into account. It's basketball. We've seen pretty much everything all year long, especially in these 2 games against Drexel. Got to go play at this point. It's just really, that's where we're at, and so we can't wait to get some shots up today. We'll practice hard for the next couple of days, and then we get to go down to Maryland and compete against Drexel.
The Hofstra Pride women's basketball team heads down to Upper Marlboro, Maryland this week for the CAA tournament, their first matchup in the 4-5 game against the Drexel Dragons. For assistant coach Faisal, I'm Mike Sullivan. Thanks for tuning in to the WB Mason Coaches Report.